La da dee 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 da 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 da. La da dee 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 da 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 da. La 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 dee ha 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 ha. Ah, ah, yeah. I don't even know why I'm doing that. I just felt the need to, not really the need to. I was kind of in the moment. That was fun. I'll be coming on soon, guys. Just, I don't know if you all can hear the, probably not. I have some like meditative music on in the background, so not sure if you all can hear it. Probably just keep it at this volume. So, very calming. So just take time if you happen to tune in live at this point, or if you're rewatching, take time in this moment to, give space to yourself, give space for your connection, hold space for yourself and your connection to source perspective, whatever it is that you want to call it, whether you give it a call, whether you call it something or it's just a feeling or a sensation. Hold space to acknowledge your connection to that right now. And as we hold space right now, may us be reminded that when we come together and we bring our unique gifts and talents together, we will manifest a future that is unlike anything we could have ever imagined. But first, you must hold space for yourself. So let's take time right now to do that. Yeah, there we go. All right. Justice. Got Bandit and Buddha in the background, chilling, flowing with us. How are you all doing in this beautiful, miraculous moment? This beautiful, miraculous present? What's going on? How are y'all doing? How are you guys flowing with the energies right now? How are you guys flowing with it? You know, the sun has just shifted into Scorpio, so it's a new season as far as the shifting signs coming out of Libra, going into the sign of Scorpio, which means that we are going into the darkness. We are going into our closets right now. We're going to be stuck in the closet. We're going to be trapped in the closet. In the closet. In the closet. Like, you know, and y'all think I'm joking. Like, you know, that, yeah, maybe a little bit of a comedy here and stuff, which is interesting. I think we are all essentially comedians. Because if you think in tarot, if you think about the Fool, it always shows someone who kind of looks like a court jester. And the court jester was the individual that would entertain the court, right? That would entertain the court while they were sitting around, you know, doing court stuff, you know, I guess. And they always had to have interesting stories to tell. And the fools that had the most interesting stories to tell, they usually found themselves, well, going on these grand adventures because, of course, the kings and the queens would be very much so attracted to what they had to say. Who's to say that the fool, though, didn't make up some of those stories? I think we've all made up stories. We've all made up stories, and we all have followed. We've all have followed made up stories. Some of us have followed made up stories for eons upon eons, and we all probably have in some way. But I think today is going to be a reminder of that you are ultimately the writer, and that seems pretty interesting. An interesting notion that we actually are the writer, when it sometimes seems that someone is writing our story for us, right? But I like to think that we are living things kind of forwards and backwards at the same time. But welcome to this Taurus full moon live stream ceremony, Seeds of Innovative Prosperity. What does that even mean? Well, let's see. What do Seeds of Innovative Prosperity, what does that even mean? Well, we're going to talk about it today, guys. We could talk a little bit about the astrology. I'm sure you've seen a lot of astrologers talking about what's going on. And, you know, here's my take on it. We have a fixed crossed energy where we have we have a lot of this fixed energy that's activating right now. And fixed energy is correlating, of course, to the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. We have the nodes, which the north node is in Leo, the south node being in Aquarius, squaring the moon, which is in Taurus at 1 degree, and the sun, which is in Scorpio at 1 degree, which is activating this cross energy. And this is really important because it's interesting that the energies that square each other, which create crosses. So we have a fixed cross, you can have a mutable cross, you can also have a cardinal cross. The fixed cross, in many ways, I like to think of it as this powerful punch. And I don't even want to really say that it is, you know, I wouldn't really go as far as to say that it's the punch itself. I think the actual action of punching something would be more like a cardinal thing because it's like an action, whereas the fixed energy is more like the power. So think of it as like a chakra boost, or think of it as chi. Think of it more in terms of energy. And then mutability is like how that affects things, of course, like and how things just seem to always be in flux. So it's sort of like think of it as the act of throwing a stone as cardinal. Think of the initial point of impact that's fixed, which creates the power in the ripple. And then the continuing ripples, think of that as beautiful. So we have a fixed cross happening today, which means that there's going to be sort of this inception point of this great power or chakra release within every single one of us. So it's definitely going to be like sort of like a power boost. And since it's happening along the Scorpio-Taurus axis, this is really dealing with themes and energy signatures of self-worth, self-value, confidence. You know, in many ways, our structure, our foundation, how do we ground ourselves? With the Scorpio energy, this is dealing with, of course, these deeper emotional currents, having to develop a deeper sense of emotional awareness and emotional intelligence, having to, you know, allow ourselves to go to those depths, but also know when to disconnect so we're not just completely dragged down by our own misery, because that can happen. You can get very melancholy. You can trap yourself in your own mind, because Scorpio is very much so a psychological sign. So this is not only about, you know, the physical body and stability and support and kind of health from that standpoint, but it's also about our psychological health and how we ground ourselves back in. You know, this is an important moment where we are really taking our power back, I think, in a powerful way, because I think what's happening here is that a lot of people have been under the illusion that they don't have this thing called free will. And I think it's this whole interesting thing, the whole free will versus determinism debate, when really what's happening is there's some sort of integration that's happening. There's some sort of integration of these that's happening, where it's like, yes, it's determined that if I pick up this pen and I let go of it, that it will drop, you know? And it seems like there's no kind of like free will involved in that. But there is this quintessential quality that seems to allow for the evolution of energy to the next stage, even under the most seemingly impenetrable obstacles or illusions to overcome. There has to be some type of quality that allows us to really know and feel our connection to source and to wield that power in a way that frees us in that moment, and consequently everyone else around us in our certainly our immediate proximity. And what we are going to learn in the future is through this electromagnetic, in this whole digital age, just how powerful our influence can be, which is why anybody who sees himself as, I don't know if I want to say an influencer. Oh, we have a bird over here. I guess they were attracted to my stones. I have some stones laying on the railing here because I was charging them in the sun, and I'm gonna charge them in the moonlight tonight. I was like, I actually attracted a bird who's interested in my stones. I hope it doesn't try and take one of them, because some of them probably could be swallowed. Some of them are small. We'll just take that as a message, though. We'll just take that as an interesting message from God. That's certainly interesting that a bird just literally flew out. And the birds don't usually come around here like that. But this is, like I said, a very powerful moment. And I think what's happening today is that since we have this cross energy, and a lot of people, when they hear the word cross, they usually think of some type of pain to bear, or it is usually associated with some type of martyrdom, or at least that's the script that people are running within their consciousness. But you have to realize that that consciousness that they are, you know, running that script through, it's about a tiny bubble and a giant seed of consciousness. So you can be running that script, but there's so much more to explore. So, you know, we also have to see other representations of what the cross can mean. The cross can mean this powerful energies of like this intersection. It can represent in many ways a star being born. It can represent, or it can represent kind of like the moment when the star is born, like that big flash of bright light, and then the star is born. It could be can mean many different things, and it can literally mean the crossroads in one's life, where have arrived at a juncture where we have to make important decisions. And I think right now we are all facing, you know, we're all facing tropes and storylines within our own personal lives of being at a crossroads and what path to take and how to really manifest with this. Because regardless of who you are, we all have been given a new card, a new superpower that is really unique to us. It's like a sacred treasure. In fact, at the end of this video, we're going to do a ceremony that allows you to connect with your sacred treasure. And like it's really different for everyone and stuff. And it's something that I got this concept from, of course, the Seven Deadly Sins, and essentially it's this weapon that the characters of the Seven Deadly Sins, or the warriors, that when they had this weapon, it like really augmented well with, I won't say their cosmology and who they are, so it like hyper activated their powers. It was able to channel their abilities and their powers more efficiently because it was that much of a synchronized whole with them. So that's what we're going to actually be doing. We're going to be calling in our sacred treasures tonight. Some of you may already know what your sacred treasure is. Some of you may discover it tonight. Some of you may not necessarily, you may have difficulty probably relating to your sacred treasure. And usually for that, I would say you would probably want to look at anything, I would say Taurus and Sag energy you want to look at. Because there's an interesting connection between Taurus and Sag that I have been, they king kunks each other. But there's an interesting energy between Taurus and Sag, that bridge of energy that I've been kind of like working on, kind of like, well, not really on the deal anymore, obviously, but I've been kind of working on that just like in the background, trying to figure out what is up with that pair. It's kind of an interesting one. But this is going to be an opportunity for real for you to really plant these seeds of this innovative prosperity where it doesn't matter what's happening in the external world. It doesn't matter what your story can maybe communicating to you right now. It does not matter if your story right now is communicating to you. And it could be the story that you tell yourself. It could be the story that other people say about you. It can be the story that you were thrusted into with seemingly with not your consent. Like you were thrown into a story that you were born in this country, that you are this ethnicity, that at this particular age you do that at this particular age you do that. Born into that story. This is going to be a moment that kind of allows you to disconnect from a lot of that, because a lot of those scripts that we're running are dying. They're dying. And that's a bit of the frustration, because all of us, no matter who you are, has some type of emotional connection to those scripts that we ran for such a long time. And we have good reason for it too. The gods know this, and Source knows this. That's why there is actually a lot of help right now. That's why there's actually so much healing that's happening right now, and we are so guided. But there's also simultaneously this push to continue the fear mongering, to continue. And I want to tell you, it's real. Like, this is a spiritual war. Like, this sacred treasure is going to be something that you probably will fight with, and you're going to fight dark forces with this. And that's okay. It's like, and this is coming from someone who's a bit of a pacifist. Like, as far as like, now, mind you, I would create stories of characters who would fight and who were warriors and ninjas and all that sort of stuff. All those fun things, heroes. But I myself haven't really been in a fight like that, like physically. And it could have just been a product of my upbringing, or it was just sort of my nature, because I don't necessarily want to fight like that. But then it's like, I guess it's because I also have this other thing where it's like, if I could fight the way I wanted to, and like, which I kind of can and I do anyways, but it's like I know that it's occurring in other different dimensions and stuff like that. This kind of just railed off a bit, but this is also just kind of a good example of what this woman's going to bring up, because it's like, Are you really confident in who you are? Like, are you really confident in who you are? We have to remember that Uranus is involved here too. Uranus is at 0 degrees of Taurus, conjunct the moon. And it's about to come back into Aries. And when it comes back into Aries, it's going to take just those first 2 degrees of a Taurus that it was at. And even though it's only 2 degrees, it's going to take that into Aries, and it's going to blow the top off of those seeds. It's just going to be like, bam! And those seeds are just going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Probably a lot more rapidly than you think, which is why by the time that Uranus comes back into Taurus, people are already going to be manifesting like incredible things, like really quickly after that. And then, of course, Uranus is going to be here for the next 8 to 10 years. I'm telling you, the world is not going to look the same in 10 years. It's just not. It's the trend in like there is this. I'm feeling the Four of Pentacles. There's this aspect where we're holding on. We are all holding on to the old world in some way. But I think what's happening right here is it's being transmuted. It's the Phoenix rising. That's where the sun is right now. So yes, there can be times where we are depressed, anxiety-ridden. We feel like we haven't made it. We feel like our heads hanging down. You're like, we kind of do this. We don't feel good. Sometimes we have to curl up. But you have to know that that state is not your forever state. It is not your forever state. You can rise again like the Phoenix. You can smile and be like, Yahoo! I love you guys. What's going on? Who is let's see what's going on with you guys. We'll see if anyone was in the chat. But I wrote down some notes for this, and I'm gonna draw cards from a new deck that I have, which I was like, I haven't really looked at the deck much myself. I was just kind of looking through it, but I figured now would be as good time as any. This is the Galactic Heritage cards, which I first saw these. I think it was Jasmine. I think you have these cards in one of your videos, and I thought, oh, that looks like a cool deck. I want to definitely check that out. For those of you who do not know Jasmine or Gladiator Sweats, go check out the talk that we had on my channel. I think it was like a couple of weeks ago. Also go subscribe to her channel because she is awesome. And she has a lot of the Scorpio energy, so she will be able to explain a lot of what is going on and what is happening and what you are going to experience over the next 30 days. These subtle yet intense Scorpio energies that are going to have everyone I'm just being dumb right there. Anyways, so there are a couple other things I want to talk about with this full moon, and I want to kind of keep this video short just because I do have some other things I wanted to do, but at the same time, I wanted to really let you know just how powerful this moment is and how, like I said, this is the coming together of 4 energies. This is the coming together of, like, I almost want to think of it like, since it's 4, you can think of it like a box. You can think of it as a diamond, like, here, let me just like draw this out. You can think about this as north, south, east, west. You can think of this as the 4 royal stars in many ways. That's what crosses do. Let's see. That's what we're going through right now. And it's a very powerful symbol. This box, the diamond. I like to sometimes see it as a kite too, but I know there's an actual kite in astrology, but there is, well, hold on, let me just talk about some of these asteroids because this is also very interesting. So as I said, the sun is at 1 degree Scorpio and the moon is at 1 degree Taurus. So anybody who has their sun or moon at these degrees, at these early degrees, or if they happen to have it at 0 degrees or 1 degrees of Leo or Aquarius, this full moon is going to affect you the most. It's going to really reveal to you and give you sort of like this. It's just going to really show you the platform of your manifestations based off of how much you believe in your ability to get things done and to manifest and to move things forward. This is going to be for everyone like that, but if you have your sun or moon or your rising at 0 to 1 degrees of any of the fixed signs, this is going to affect you the most, the cusp, essentially. But the other thing is that we do have Venus, which is involved in this. Venus, which of course is retrograde in Scorpio. It's in the shadows. It's in the dark. It's not really happy. It kind of like walked into Scorpio. I felt like it walked into a minefield, and now it's trudging back to Libra to try and figure out some way of having inner peace. But it has like, Venus is kind of upset. It's like she's like covered in seaweed now. She's like having to like, she has like tar like all over her face and stuff, and she's been kind of releasing some of her like deeper like animalistic desires, stuff like that. She's not exactly feeling like super like pretty right now. I mean, she's feeling pretty, but it's sort of like a damn, I'm like kind of gotten down and dirty. So Venus is, and this Venus and Scorpio also teaches us this energy of like this really deeper loyalty and this deeper quality. Whereas Venus and Scorpio is very much so super sexual, but it's also incredibly fucking loyal. So that's the other thing about this, is that this is about us regaining a loyalty to ourselves. And when we actually hold space for ourselves, here's the thing. There's a lot of strife in the world right now. And there's a lot of perpetuation of the strife by just simply by having the means of communication that we have today. So naturally, there's going to be an exploitation to, if division wanted to have division, there'll be an exploitation to make division seemingly as rampant as possible. But unification is very much so evident. I would think so. Like unification, like how I can unify this pen with this piece of paper and then leave a mark on it, And even though that seems like a very obscure and maybe even manipulated way of looking at, unification, because they seem separate, right? They seem separate. But are they really? We seem separate, but are we really? So this is about us learning how to hold space for each other, how to have a deeper sense of trust and loyalty towards ourselves and for other people. When someone else is going through something and they lash out at you, they don't recognize it. It seems like there's almost like blind, zombie-like. That is a shadowy possession that's coming from a repressed emotion that really is coming from a pure place, but has been denied access to because of the person's inability to let that go. So that's what's interesting about Scorpio, because since it does rule death and rebirth, you have to think that a lot of the human story, which is about survival, goes through the energy of Scorpio. Like so much energy is packed into that place, which you could kind of see it as a black hole, or you can see it as, I almost like to think of it as, the brighter you are, the more shadow you attract. So I like to think of it as, it could be the darkness that surrounds a star. And even if you really think about it, I want you to think about this. I'm going to draw this out too. So and I'm not really, I didn't think of this first or anything like that, but it does make sense. It does make sense. So you see this right here? This is the glyph for the sun in astrology. So this actually could be multiple things. Now, it could be that this right here in the middle is actually the sun, and this outer ring right here could be a planet. Now, I saw that Christopher Rattecki argued that that ring is probably Pluto, and I would definitely be quicker to agree that that is true than to disagree, because I haven't really looked further into it to see what else that ring could be. But it definitely has a Plutonic. It does have a Plutonic quality, because if you even think about it, I want to take this a step further, right? Because Pluto, or the Scorpio energy, was originally ruled by Mars, right, which is about this initiation energy. And now Mars is, it rules both of them. But then this was before, of course, they discovered Pluto, which was always there, of course. Now Pluto, of course, is represented as a couple of glyphs. It has this one, which is like a P or something like that, the tail, and then there's also this one, which is the new one, which I like because I think this one makes sense. Is we have this, which almost sort of looks like Neptune, but then it has what it appears to be is that it's holding an egg that is yet to be fertilized. That's what I think it is, because I think you can see the sun also as an egg that has been fertilized. And yes, I'm talking about reproductive stuff. So yes, we're talking about sex, but this is a higher divine, more cosmological look at what sex is, and the creation process. And I don't know if you've seen any of those videos, but it's like they've shown like some videos where at the moment of impact between when the sperm enters into the egg, there's like a shock wave and like a light that's emitted, the birth of a star. And there's this incredible, it really is a miracle. It really is. So I'm going to show you guys something here. Now, if you take, now this is the sun, right? This is the glyph of the sun. Now, Mars's glyph, literally all you have to do is draw a line out. And you get Mars's glyph. Now, what could that mean, though, if that's the egg, but the sperm doesn't go in, right? But it's interesting. This could, of course, also be representative of Sagittarius's arrow. It actually could be Sagittarius's arrow that is, leaving it's like shooting its mark. This is actually getting to kind of understanding the bridge of Scorpio to the last 4 degrees of the zodiac, and what Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, and that vibration, what it's trying to bring in, because it really is a deeper wisdom. It's like the path is laid before us, but not at the same time. So it's one of the largest conundrums in the human psyche. So, and it's something that I don't think we're just necessarily going to just understand. But I think what's happening right now is that we are being inundated with a lot of information. So, and the funny thing is that where is Mars right now, by the way? Where is Mars right now? It's in Aquarius. That's right. Mars is in Aquarius at 17 degrees right now. So there is definitely this fixed activation, but really all the energies within the fixed signs. And if you have like your sun, moon, or rising in any of these signs, or any of your major planets, this is definitely going to be affecting you very profoundly. But what's happening here is that we're pretty much we are sort of in the process of bringing about this, essentially the way at least I thought about it, because it's like, do I want to say it the way I want to? Okay, we are really kind of having sex right now with these other aspects of ourselves, and we're creating a new trajectory and a new reality. It's almost like all of ourselves, all of the different aspects of who we are that exist within other timelines and dimensions and outside of timelines are essentially converging. So this is the converging of timelines, and this is going to create I'm gonna say a singularity. This is actually, which is actually a plurality. What's going to create a singularity, which I think was going to sort of reflect it within each and every one of us. Therefore, really connecting us to each other and us being like really hyper aware of it. The other thing I want to note about this is that Saturn is at 4 degrees Capricorn, so it's sextiling the Sun and Venus. So that's what I was talking about. That's what's important here is that we are learning how to hold space for people. It's not. This is the. And I had like this really good image in my head yesterday about holding space for people, where like literally think about it. Like you hold space for them. It's like they may be going through their thing and stuff like that. You literally back up. You literally like just hop onto another. I guess you could say hop onto another planet. I'm just thinking of like cartoonishy, but like, and you hold space for them to grow. It's just like how right now we're kind of being held right now to grow and stuff because we have a lot of things to work out within our consciousness. We have a lot of different things to work out before we are really ready to explore this cosmos. But the thing is that we already have explored it. That's the thing about it. That's the weird thing. But even beyond that, there is something else that is opening up, which is why we're being guided so heavily right now. The asteroid Atlantis is at 17 degrees of Scorpio, so it's actually squaring Mars right now. So I think what's happening also today is that within our consciousness, there is sort of this remembrance of the events that took place at Atlantis and the fall of Atlantis, and how a lot of us have blocked out memories of that time because we don't really want to bring up the emotional traumas that we face from that, but it's needing to be healed. It's needing to be healed at such a great capacity. And I believe it already has been healed. It's just like we're actually going to now start to become aware of it and maybe even detach a little bit from the pain that happened during that time that so many people are waking up to. So many people are having their recalls of what life was like in Atlantis. Mars is squaring the asteroid. Mercury's at 21 degrees of Scorpio. So Mercury, of course, the trickster, is kind of the head of the game, and is trying to catch up to Jupiter, honestly. Mercury's trying to catch up to Uncle Jupe, who's at 26 degrees of Scorpio. Now Jupiter's still in the dark, of course, but Jupiter kind of knows what's up. Jupiter kind of has an idea of what the jig is. But the interesting thing that's blocking Jupiter, kind of, but we do have the asteroid Icarus at 27 degrees of Scorpio, which is about going really far for things, really, really pushing your boundaries. Icarus and Scorpio is like pushing your boundaries to the extreme. Icarus, of course, was the one who wanted to fly up and touch the sun, but then the wings melted. So it could represent how we can go to the extremes only to just crash back down to the ocean. It being in Scorpio means that we are really pushing it. So Jupiter's like really like trying to catch up. It's like, can we push things too far? I think that's something to consider here. But the great thing is that we do have Chiron, which is at 28 degrees of Pisces, the wounded healer, and it's trining 20 degrees of Scorpio, which Icarus has yet to reach. So that's why I feel like even though right now things can seem extreme, that the boundaries of what people are capable of are being pushed, the boundaries of the kind of deep emotional traumas that people can experience in this plane seem like they are getting pushed. Like it seems like, can we really do this to each other? Can we really do this to each other? A lot of that's being healed right now, and it can be painful. Sometimes the healing is painful. Sometimes you have to be strapped down. And that's actually scary, right? To be strapped down like that. I think really what's happening right now, I don't think we're really being strapped down. We kind of are. But we are definitely being guided right now in a super powerful way. I also failed to mention the asteroid Pandora is at 2 degrees of Aquarius conjunct the South Node. So right now, what's happening is that we are kind of faced with like this decision on one or two things. We can open our own Pandora's jar, which is originally supposed to be jar. It's not box. There's actually a mistranslation. You hear the term opening up Pandora's box, which means all the ills have flowed into the world. And of course, we blame once again the downfall of humanity on a woman named Pandora. But if you actually look more into the story about it and stuff, I don't know why that trope always comes up. I think that's being explored too right now. I really do. But Pandora is, like I said, at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So we are all collectively opening up Pandora's box. Now, some of us may really identify with the collective story, and some of us may really identify with our own personal story. Either way, you're going to learn both. You're going to know all the facts of both. And then by the time we are kind of done exploring it, we're going to really know how we feel about it. Now, this may take a while, okay? This may take years. Don't expect to know it all right now. Don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. Believe me, I have my Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, so the South Node is on top of my Saturn right now. So it's like, I really have to hold space and really be integral to my unique vision, and of course be here to serve other people, and to show compassion, but not get so emotionally attached at the same time to where I'm now not acting in integrity because I feel like it's going to make someone upset. But then I'm not speaking my truth. And that's two people not speaking their truth. So is it better to have one person really speaking their truth and another person kind of following a script that is not really their own? And even at that person who is convinced, that their way is the way, whatever like that, and it's trying to tell you to get on board, they're running that script. This is about a convening of these two stories and sharing around the campfire our story of the cosmos, our story of the stars, our story of what's happening here. It's about embracing the story, but also closing that book and picking up another one and reading, you know? So we are all, in many ways, opening up Pandora's jar. And in time, even after time, we will know why we did this and feel into this, and why there seems to be this trope of course, of blaming the divine feminine for the downfall of humanity when the divine masculine was just as much involved. So that's something else that's needing to be healed within the collective. But know that it is, and that really right now what you want to do is you want to really step into your heart, you know, and definitely embrace yourself as a unique individual, but you are a part of a collective, and you do have a gift to give to that collective. That gift will never run out. The gift is actually Pandora's box, and why did it have to be ills that spilled into the world, and why was hope the only thing remaining in the box? Maybe you have to, maybe this is when you kind of look at where Pandora is within your chart to kind of figure that out. Because once we actually decide to take hope out of that box, I don't think it'll actually be empty. I think it actually will end up being, or maybe there will be sort of a calmness that comes from it. But then it might even open up the plug to like this abundance of this innovative prosperity to flow through, and we all are feeling the seeds of our potential and just what we really can do and how we can really manifest. So yeah, this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to draw some cards, and then we're going to do well, actually, what I'm going to do, I actually do want to read from the Inside the Degrees. Actually, no. Actually, this is what I want to do, because I want to share a different one, actually. This one is great, but there's another one that I have on my astrology program that is good too, and I wanted to read that to you all. So I'll read both of them actually because the one on this program is like kind of like an updated version, and people make these symbols and these descriptions for each of the degrees. So of course, inside the degrees, this one is not the only one, but I wanted to share this other one with you all. So let me share my screen real quickly, and then okay. So this awesome looking craziness is the moment of the full moon, which occurred around 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what I wanted to show you all was, let's see, hold on, well, this is Pandora. As you can see, it's at 2 degrees conjunct south node. You have the north node here at 1 degrees. Sun here, Scorpio, opposing the moon and Uranus in Taurus. And of course, Venus is close too. It's within a 3-degree orb, so there's definitely a lot of influence there. But what I wanted to read to you all was a couple. Well, let's see. Definitely wanted to read you all this: the galactic center, the 28 degrees of Sagittarius, and I think this is a very important part right now. So I wanted to read this to you all. An angry mob pours over a stone bridge spanning the crocodile-infested moat of a castle. Soon a huge crowbar is being applied to the portcullis, leading humanity in a vital new cultural direction against formidable opposition. Grim determination to have one's view prevail. Unending struggle. Scathing attacks on stifling traditions. Barbarians at the gates guided by mass rage and other destructive passions. Unflinching examination of monstrous political, social, and moral problems. Puncturing political and religious myths. Exercising cultural demons by bringing them to light in palatable cultural form. Art with a message. Finding the weak point in an opponent's defenses and applying collective pressure, the stonewalling of change by the ruling class versus the inevitable crumbling of traditions. Read that again. The inevitable crumbling of traditions that have outlived their usefulness. Slowdowns, burning one's bridges in a major confrontation. If that does not explain the current state of the world, I don't know what does. Now, of course, this does round up to 28 degree, but the galactic center is such a big influence. I really like to think that it kind of spans from about 25 degrees of Sagittarius to about 0 to 1 degrees Capricorn. It's that big of a space. It's influence. But if that doesn't describe what is happening, I don't know what does. And now I'm going to read to you, that was 28 degrees of Sagittarius, at least on this one. And that's the Goldsmith Revised Sabian Symbols. Now I want to read 27 degrees, and this is just going to be in my book that I have. Sagittarius 27, Siamese twins talking to each other. Intimate exposure to current energies and concepts, which turn you inside out and upside down. Being hyper impressionable, super suggestible, and uncomfortably close and awkward. Nothing feels right. Nothing goes where it's supposed to. However, something entirely different is on its way. In a matter of outlasting the fate of the past and resiliently coming back to life by surprise. The return is orchestrated by invisible forces. Let me repeat that. The return is orchestrated by invisible forces. You're captivated by strange old stories with incestuous serpentine entrapment to them and called to utterly beyond all of this. This is about us actually leaving behind these scripts that we have continually ran and tested and experimented with and kind of got the same results with for eons. We were called to go beyond this. You have the capacity to release and renounce the most confounding combination of factors and to lead vibrantly into unknown country with barely a scratch, everything going your way. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. And why is all this collapsing? Who knows? because Sphinx is conjunct Pluto, and it's an unsolved mystery, an enigma, a paradox, questions, missing information, lack of answers, and understanding. So yeah, this is the time where you have to just let things be and really seriously feel into a deeper quality of trust in the divine plan, trust in your divine nature, trust in the divine you, trust in the divine I, trust in the divine I am, trust in the divine we are. All right, good, we're back. Just wanted to see the state of things. But anyways, so like I said, I haven't really talked much as far as like what these seeds of innovative prosperity are. This is really going to be fine tailored to you. That's why we're about to do this ceremony right now. So we are going to really be calling in our sacred treasures. Before we do that, though, I'm going to draw a couple of cards from the Galactic Heritage cards deck. And this is just a general reading. It really is. For really the entire collective. So these are just going to be the energies that are coming through. This is a really large deck. It's like over 100 cards. Like, it's pretty freaking insane. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of I'm going to pick 4 cards, and then I'll pick like a 5th card. The 4 cards are going to, of course, represent the 4 crossing energies. And I'm not even going to assign a card to the crossing energies. I'm just going to acknowledge 4 in and of itself. But then I'm going to draw a 5th card, which is going to represent, in many ways, kind of like the superpower that you're really coming into. So we have 1. I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So we have graduation. Oh, wow. Graduation. We have homesickness associated with Vega. So we have Earth, we have Vega. We have seeds of polarity. And we also have being the mentors. Being the mentors. Final card we have is homing beacon. Wow, interesting. Homing beacon. So first of all, I'm just going to kind of go over these cards and what they kind of mean to me. And then I'll read from this to kind of give a more accurate, to give like a more like, I guess what they sort of intended. But these cards right here that I have are kind of representing the crossing energies. So the first card that we have here is graduation. And it says Earth. So, just think of what graduation means, for you or in your life. Graduation can mean going from one stage to the next. You have completed a certain number of courses, you have completed a certain amount of material, and you have tested and you have shown your prowess that now enables you to have the label of graduating, and you have moved on to the next step, and now you have some type of knowledge and or expertise within a particular field, right? So since this is talking about Earth, you could think this is talking about the Earth school. So we, like, the same way that we have, classes or like, the math and science and all this stuff like that in our schools, there are larger like tropes within our human consciousness that are kind of like tests and different subjects. And there are certain subjects that we have been really just not really avoiding because they will always be there and they always come up, but we haven't really been expressing the many different subjects. We haven't been expressing them. We've only been kind of containing ourselves into one little space. So I think this is kind of being blown open. This also can be a graduation and just like we are upgrading. This is an upgrade. This is a graduation moment right now. you realize that this is a graduation moment, and we are all about to, like, or at least as far as in this, we're going to get our sacred treasures, but it can manifest for you in many different ways. Graduation can appear as you getting a new job. It can show as you getting a new house, manifesting a new house. We have to remember this is full moon Taurus, so we are talking about something that will physically manifest. So it could be you going on a vacation. It could be you having a new relationship. It could be, like I said, you having a new income source. It can, probably have a lot to do with these areas, physical manifestation and also psychological health. We do have homesickness, and this is really important, I think, because I think I definitely have a sense of homesickness, because even though the Earth is my home, it's just that I remember eras on this plane that did not have this kind of strife. I think we all have memories of this. And I've lived in other places that also were reminiscent of not there weren't as there wasn't that polarity, there wasn't that strife. I think there's a homesickness. There's what we are living in, what we see in our society is this deep expression of the homesickness that our spirit feels. The homesickness of that our soul feels of being misaligned with source. So that's why all this stuff is happening. We are really trying to prod ourselves to kind of wake up and to come home. That we don't have to hold ourselves from our divine nature. We have seeds of polarity here. Seeds of polarity. So I think it's interesting how it calls the seeds of innovative change. And, there are seeds. I think what we're discovering right now is that there are seeds that we have planted of this polarity that are kind of being revealed to us right now. And now it's like, okay, now that this has grown from this seed of polarity that I planted, how can I take this plant or this tree that seemingly seems like it can't be one? That I'm literally seeing this tree. I'm seeing like this giant oak tree, right? I'm seeing this giant oak tree, and on one side of it actually is black, and on another side it's white. And I don't know why I'm using those colors, but one side is black and one side is white, right down the middle. But on the black side there is white fruit, and on the white side there is black fruit. And now we have been tasked with how to integrate the flavors of these two fruits. Ah, we also have 77 being the mentors. So I think what's happening here is that we actually are going to become mentors to other beings, just like how we have guides, and beings that help us. We too will become that for other civilizations. So we are learning our process and our story, and then we're going to help other beings as well. We have the homing beacon here too, though. So this is really, honestly, it's like you really can't hide from God anymore. And that's really what I see this as. I see the homing beacon as, well, first of all, the number is 17. The number is 71, which is 17 reverse. And I like to think of 17 as a number of the bridge, and that's mainly because of the book I have, which talks about like the birthdays for each one. But it talks about the birthdays and like a different theme for each birthday of the year and the astrological implications of it. It gives like a cool description and stuff like that. So November 17th, of course, is like the day of the bridge. But I have even read and heard in places that if you do anything like 17 times, or even if you like, it actually does have like this bridging quality where it actually does get you to the next level. So I think what's happening here is that we are being gifted something that is going to become somewhat of like a homing beacon, which will attract to you, of course, incredible positive or seemingly positive situations, things that would seem very beneficial to you, things that are very prosperous and joyous and abundant, but also realize that that polarity is also going to be attracted to you, where that when you start to express your love and your truth and your light, you will attract darkness. And you may attract a lot of it, even more before you are really on your path and stuff. So it is kind of like a homing beacon. It is kind of calling attention to yourself. But this is that moment where you stand your ground and you realize that you aren't standing alone. but you are standing alone. Because if you split alone to all one, although there's an L that's missing, but that L, of course, is you. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the ceremony. So this ceremony is very, very easy. It is a very simple ceremony. What we're going to do is we're going to be calling in our sacred treasure. This is an object, an artifact that enhances the qualities of your spirit, and it channels it into something that is physical. Now, what I'm probably going to do is when we do the full moon Scorpio video in 6 months, we will take like a physical object and actually we will redo this ceremony. But what we're going to do in this one is that we're simply just going to draw it out. And it doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter if you feel like you can draw stuff. We're going to draw it out, and we're going to actually burn it. And what we're first going to do is we're going to say affirmations into it, and we're going to explain why this is our sacred treasure to us. And what I'm also going to do is that I have my singing bowl here. So I'm going to hit it on all 4 sides of this, and it's going to kind of, it's going to bless the moment. So I'll give you some time to get some paper, and we're going to just draw here. And like I said, it can be anything. It can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a weapon. Your sacred treasure can be a car. Your sacred treasure can be a house. Your sacred treasure can be a couch. Your sacred treasure can be headphones. Your sacred treasure can be anything you want. So like, don't really allow yourself to don't hold back and stuff like that. My sacred treasure, I'm not gonna lie, is kind of boring, or at least it seems boring, but it has a lot of cool functions. So it's obvious, but it has a lot of cool functions. So, but that's just my sacred treasure. Like I said, it can be really anything you want. So have fun with this. Tap into your imagination. This is meant to really activate all these different aspects of this fixed energy, where we're going to take, we're going to, draw something out. So it's going to be physical. That's activating that Taurus energy. We're going to say affirmations into it. And this is talking about that South Node energy, but we're going to be learning to heal, and heal this aspect and realize that sometimes when we open up Pandora's jar, we do get more than we bargained for, but that doesn't mean that we can't handle it. Right? And then, of course, we have the Sun and Venus here in Scorpio. And this is going to, in many ways, it's also going to represent, this whole process, this whole putting this together, how we feel about things, and just, holding space for this moment. Because what we're going to do, of course, we'll draw a circle around our sacred treasure to protect it. And then with, this is all very so creative anyway, so that's Leo. But we're also going to take it, and then we're going to burn the piece of paper. And then that's sending the message that to the universe that we are ready to receive our sacred treasure. So it will be advantageous for you to, after this ceremony, sometime within the next week or just whenever, sometime before the Scorpio full moon, but when the sun goes into Taurus in 6 months, to get a physical object that represents your sacred treasure. It doesn't even have to be the same thing, right? Because what we were actually burning right here is more or less the energy signature. So, for example, if your sacred treasure is a car, don't go get a car and burn it. If your sacred treasure is a car, you're not going to burn it. What we're going to do is we're going to do like an enchantment on it, and then we're going to like have like this representation of, destroying it, right? So if your sacred treasure is a car and you draw a car right here, right? Don't, like I said, go buy a car and then destroy it. Buy like a little Hot Wheels or something like that, to represent it. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be, you can print out a picture of a car. That would work too when we hit that moment. But for right now, we're wanting to just engage our drawing abilities, our own abilities, what we can do. So that's what we're going to do here. But yeah, definitely at this time, I feel that, hey babe, what's up? What part do you feel? I want to know what you're talking about exactly. And note, by the way, whenever you watch this video, you can do this ritual of drawing out your sacred treasure and then burning it. If you really want to enhance the quality of this and really actually feel the power that comes from using your sacred treasure 6 months from now, you can do this every single time the moon goes into Taurus. It's like you're renewing your contract with it. All right, so let's begin the process of drawing out our sacred treasure. Said if you need to like pause it, you can go get some paper, stuff like that. But and like I said, this is a like don't judge yourself and what you're drawing. Like if you draw like a car or a house and it looks like it doesn't look like that, don't worry about it. It's okay. All right, it's okay. The universe got your back. The universe understands and feels what you want because you are connected to it and it knows your intentions. So don't worry about how it looks. All right. This is also a practice of non-judgment. All right. So yeah, just draw your thing. We can just talk and chat right now, actually. But what we're going to do is we're going to draw our sacred treasure out. Like I said, it can be really anything you want. So don't really hold yourself back, all right? But yeah, like I said, my sacred treasure is kind of boring, but not really. And allow it to flow too. Like it's like even if it's like really like just allow it to flow. That's why like mine's kind of just like sort of taken off on its own and stuff, and I'm kind of surprised at how it's like kind of evolving. But allow it to flow. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical either. I'm telling this all to myself because I'm like, what in the world are you drawing, bro? But I know what it represents, so that's the important thing. That's why it's a sacred treasure, because you know what it represents. All right, I'm done, actually. Yeah. So This is going to be the moment where we're going to hold space, of course, for our sacred treasure. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to draw a circle around our sacred treasure. So if your sacred treasure happens to take up the entire page, that's okay. Just you really do the best you can. But yeah, you want to draw a circle around your sacred treasure, okay? Because this is many ways, it's like it already exists, but it actually also represents us giving birth to it. So we're trying to like spark a reality, okay? So you want to draw a circle or oval, or just kind of draw something around your sacred treasure. You want to hold space for it to grow. All right. Draw my circle around sacred treasure. Now that we have drawn the circle around our sacred treasure, let's now you can use really now this part right here is really going to be kind of fine tailored to you. You want to say affirmations about what the sacred treasure is intended to do and the purpose of this sacred treasure. So, and know that what you're saying is going to be very guided right now. And I will even go as far to say as monitored. And I don't want to freak you out by saying that, but there's a reason for that because we still have to hold each other accountable and stuff. So we still have this Venus energy. So it's like we're having to really balance and integrate these deeper aspects. So, the sacred treasure is meant for you, or at least the way that I feel, is meant for you to express your divine creativity in a way that is primarily uplifting in nature. Now, that does not mean that people haven't used their sacred treasures for quote unquote nefarious things, but the sacred treasure is it's really a gift and it's a miracle um, that also has the ability to remind us of who we are. It actually also has it also has the ability to bring us back from the depths of any type of uh, traumas or fears that we've kind of have been like plaguing ourselves with too. It helps to ground us in many ways. It really does help to ground us. So now that we've drawn our circles around our sacred treasure, you want to say affirmations. And what you can do right here is that if you want, you can write your affirmations like in the bubble if you really want to. Of course, but I would just say to be very careful about that. To be very careful about it. What I'm really going to do is I'm just going to kind of put my hands over it and say affirmations. But I just caution against writing them inside of here, just because, like, truthfully, the essence of God and Source is ineffable, and there are no words really to describe it. So it's like you can put some words in here, but it's like at the same time know that you could potentially be limiting yourself. But at the same time, like I said, it's very much so guided. So if you feel called to do that, then most certainly do that. But Spirit right now knows your intention, so that's why it's going to make this a very unique and powerful ceremony. So just take time right now to say it only to yourself. You can say it out loud too. Just say affirmations to yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the sacred treasure, but just about this moment, just what you're feeling right now, what you're feeling. I'm honestly feeling a little crazy, telling people to have a sacred treasure and draw a sacred treasure and put a circle on it. But for some reason, I feel guided to do so. And it's because I believe that everyone does have a gift. Everyone has a gift that when they share this gift with the world, it really is unending. It really is. And it is up to us. It really is up to us to open ourselves up to receiving this gift, to truly receiving this gift. So, for me, the sacred treasure means, for me, to express my divine creativity in such a way that promotes uncomplicated joy, innovative prosperity, and a widespread feeling and deeper knowing that all is well, that we are truly one, that we really can really be happy and feel at peace within ourselves, the stars that make up who we are, our cosmology, our universes, our songs, our parables. So thank you for this moment. So much gratitude. Thank you. So much gratitude that you have bestowed upon me, this sacred treasure, my sacred treasure, which is ours. It's my gift to give to you, a gift that we all can share, and we all have something to give. We really do. We all have something to give in every single moment of our life, and we do give it, even if we don't realize it. It's our presence. Just us being here changes the world. Thank you. All right, so now that we have done that, we are going to, let me just take a moment and just kind of feel into this. I'm going to hit my bowl 4 times. Part is done. Now that we have held space for our sacred treasure, set our incantations into it, now is the fun part. If you wish, this is the time where we share our sacred treasures with each other so we can talk about it in the chat. I'll share with you all my sacred treasure. And you know what I probably will do is I will do another live event, maybe the next time the moon reaches Taurus, or maybe I'll even do it like tomorrow or something like that. But maybe I'll do like another video in like a month or so, where we can do like a show and tell of our sacred treasure and what we have learned in that 30-day period from coming into awareness of our sacred treasure, becoming conscious of our sacred treasure, and reestablishing our connection with it. So, yeah, this is fun. I really hope you all are enjoying video and stuff. Make sure to share this with a friend as we going in here. We are going in. All right, guys. So, and sometimes people don't want to share with other people what they find sacred and stuff like that. They want to safeguard it and hold on to it. That's why we did the first part of the ritual. That's why we drew a circle around it. That's why we said the manifestations and our incantations. That's why we did that, because we do want to hold space for things. And sometimes we don't really want to let things out because we feel like the outside world is going to contaminate it. And this is a trope that we see within our lives, within the human story all the time. It's like, you know, born into a family, there are certain rules and stuff like that that you've learned, and then your parents, they hold on to you because they don't want the outside world to taint you, but it ultimately does, and you come back into the house with those with that, you know, with those toxins, and then having been tampered with, and then that creates a whole bunch of things within the family dynamic now. But we all have to realize that we influence each other. So this is a time where really holding space for someone is not trying to shift them to your view. It's about allowing them space to grow. It's about allowing them to work out and live out the scripts that they are running. And we're all running scripts. I don't care. It can be from the seemingly most, you know, blind, buzzed out, doped up person, or the most hyper aware, conscious monk in the mountains that can levitate 10 feet in the air. Like every single person, okay? So it's not like no one here is like immune to this. Okay, guys? No one is immune to this. We all need space to grow, you know, and, you know, we're all running scripts. So it's just about the script that you choose to really run and choose to believe in. But also you have to, you have to be willing to write your own script and then also discard it if you need to. So, like I said, you don't have to share if you don't want to, because I understand you don't want to let your baby out into the world, but that's why we drew the circle around it, so it's okay. So here's my sacred treasure. It's a sword. I told you it was very basic. Now, I don't know, like, this is obviously just a representation of what my sacred treasure looks like, or it's similar to this. But as I was drawing it, like, I was trying to figure out this whole bottom part, but then I started to figure out kind of what it is and stuff. Like I said, your sacred treasure can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a weapon, whatever like that. So, but my sword actually has a lot of capabilities. So even though it appears rather basic, it's not. So, that's really going to be it for this video. Enjoy your sacred treasures. Enjoy your seeds of innovative prosperity. Enjoy your abundance and what you are manifesting, manifesting in your projects, in your relationships, your career, your legacy. Anyways, if I want to close with anything, not really. But what, like I said, what you want to do also with this is that you want to draw this out, of course, and you can do one or two things actually. You can burn it if you want to. You can ball it up and toss it in the trash and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that you're throwing it away. Of course, I would recommend burning it because that really does send the signal to the universe that you're ready to bring this in. But that's what we'll do. And then it's sort of like it really like sets in the stone. It really like integrates. It sends a message to the world of spirit that you're ready to take on, and embrace your sacred treasure. So, like I said, in 6 months we are going to repeat this ceremony. We actually will draw it out too, but we're also going to have the physical object too. So that's going to be interesting. And it's similar to like if you play like Skyrim or anything like that. Anytime that you were enchanting a sword, the sword broke, but then you were able to put that on another sword. So it's like, yeah, something does have to fall away, but so something can take its place. But that's just what this is. This is a rebirth right now. This is a death of rebirth. This is the Phoenix Rising. So I hope you all enjoyed this Taurus full moon and ceremonial, this video, this ritual. Hope you all enjoy your sacred treasures. Utilize these energies to the best of your abilities. I'm gonna go out to the porch to see if this bird took a stone or not. It might have taken a stone just because, oh, pretty stone. This will look cool on my nest. So if that's the case, you can always get another stone and stuff. And that's just fate, right? So, but Utilize this to the best of your abilities. Know that you are able, beautiful, creative, divine, and also energetic. And if you like this video and this sort of content, this sort of platform of discussion, of play, anyways, then definitely hit that like button, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and come over to my website, the Aquarian Adepts. We can get you, and I'm running a sale right now on all my readings, 25% off. It's definitely something I would highly encourage you to do. I recommend, because I learned so much I learned so much, I learned just as much as you when I do this. And it's so fun. We can help each other. We can explore the realms of consciousness together, come to a deeper understanding, and then just grow from it. And that's really what this is all about, right? So thank you all so much. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.